All right. Should say all right.
Now we'll go.
Okay. So now I'm going to teach you the kettlebell swing. Now this movement is crucial in everything that you do with kettlebells. Once you understand this kettlebell swing, all the other movements will make sense and will flow. This kettlebell swing is so basic to all these movements because you are using these hips here to use that power to bring the bell up each and every time. Okay, and we want to squeeze those glutes tight as possible at the top. So I'm going to show you a couple things before we actually get into the kettlebell swing. So first, I want you to imagine, I don't have a wall here with me, but I want you to imagine there's a wall behind me here, okay? So I want you to stand up against that wall, then I want you to bring your foot out just a foot distance away from the wall, okay? So we've got our wall about here, okay? So I want your feet to be shoulder width distance here, okay? And I want you to take your hips on your hip bones. So put your hands right here on your hip bones, okay? Now from here, all I want you to do is I just want you to push your hips. Push your hips. Try to tap that wall with your bum. And then come back up. Do it again. Okay? This is called the hip hinge movement. Okay? And I want you to visualize if you're thinking about pushing a drawer in your kitchen with your butt. And then back. You have a slight knee bend here and back. Now notice it's not a squat. See the knees there? Back. Slight knee bend. You're going to feel tightness here in your glutes. Okay? We're trying to fire up these glutes and these hammies, okay? And we're getting used to doing this movement instead of into a squat, like many of us know how to do very well. But it's just being able to use our hips in a way to use that hip hinge, okay? That's our hip hinge. So I want you to practice that on the wall a couple of times. And then from that, we want to be able to learn how to actually use those hips and pulling them back and to bring them tight into lock position. Okay, when in the lock position, your knees are tight, your glutes, your hammies and quads are tight, your tummy is tight at the top. Okay, so I want you to practice now. Just throw your hips back and tight at the top. You want to curl your bum under, squeeze it tight, and back and forth. Okay? In this position. Now I want you to think of, I'm a very visual learner, so when you think of this movement, I want you to think of a bow and arrow, okay? So you're loading up that bow, and then you're going to shoot it, project it forward, okay? So once again, when you're practicing this movement, loading up that bow. Load it up, load it up, load it up, and shoot it forward. Loading it up here, and shoot it forward. Load it up, and shoot it forward. Okay, another aspect of this movement is our core area here, okay? So the next time you do these, I want you to actually hold your core area when you go to do the hip hinge. And I'm going to show you two differences, okay? So when you load up, some people tend to typically, when they go up into that plank position, did you notice I have a curl in my back here? I've overextended myself, so now my stomach is elongated, stretched, and curved. Okay, that's not what we want. Another that we don't want to see is that when we load up and then come into the plank, is that we curl our body inward like a C position. We don't want that either. Okay, so I want you to think about your core. It's long and straight, and try to hold on to your core this time, just so you can feel it. do the hip hinge movement again, okay? So we're going to load up our hips here and then plank it up. So notice I'm still straight and my back is neutral, my neck is neutral here, neutral spine here, and here, okay? So that's what I want you to remember on the hip hinge.
I only have about 2 minutes left, so better.
Okay, another thing that I want you to remember that's very, very vitally important is the position of our toes. You'll notice that I do these movements with my bare feet. You can use low profile athletic shoes that you can still feel your toes, but I typically like to work out with bare feet because I've been able to feel my toes engage into the floor. And that's very vitally important as you begin this swing. So you'll be able to have those toes curled into the floor to be able to start. You're going to, I'll show it from the side, you're going to hip hinge here, okay, and then into that top position here. And when you come up to that top position, I'm going to talk now about the importance of our shoulders, okay? So when we come up to that top position, we need our shoulders need to be, so here's my loose shoulder, okay? So when I say shoulders packed, you want to be able to see the difference there. That's a shoulder pack. These lats are squeezed, tight, and engaged here. So whenever I say shoulders packed, lats engaged, that's what I mean, okay? And you want to keep this position the entire time throughout the whole movement. It's vitally important because we never want to lose that spot, because typically in some kettlebell swings that are taught, they go above their head, and what happened to my shoulder there? It lost its pack. So we want to be able to have it here and project it into this position. It's called the hard style swing. Throw it back here, back and here, okay? Now, another thing I want you to remember too is here we have this triangle, right? Between our knees and our middle section, this is our triangle, okay? So when we get ready to start using the bell, we're going to take the bell, so our hip hinge back, we're going to come down and find the bell, toes engaged, shoulders lats packed here, and then we're going to hike the bell into our triangle. And when you hike it back, I want you to think these here are your forearms, right? They're on the inside of your thighs. So in this position, you're here. You want to flat back here to come back to the top. So you swing back, pop, back, and pop. Okay? So that's what you want to remember as well. So now we're going to add the bell. We're going to do a drill. So now you're going to come up to the bell, foot distance away here. Okay? You're going to hip hinge back. Eyes are on the horizon, toes and lats are engaged. Shoulders are packed here. Come down and find the bell, tip the bell back. What happens when you tip the bell back is it sits your hips even farther back into the correct position there. Okay, so once again, and all I want you to do is I want you to hike the bell into that triangle. Okay, so up here and down, up and down. Okay, now I'm going to show a side view. So from this position, hike back. You might hit your butt, and that's okay. So notice I'm not going up and down, okay? Just here and down and down, okay? So I want you to practice that a couple times. You're going to really feel it after a while, and once you're done doing that a couple times, I want you to do like fast and loose, it's called. What we do is just shaking it out, because we're so tense during that movement. So whenever you're resting through any kettlebell workout, just fast and loose, shake it out, okay? So now we're going to approach the bell this time, after you've done those couple times. Now we're actually going to add the swing portion, so it's called a static stop swing, okay? So hips are back. So this time we're going to throw it back into the triangle, and actually bring the bell up into lock position. I want you to remember also, there at the top, you want to be planked out of the top. So if I were standing here and you were my client, I'd have you put your hands out like this, and I'd push down on your hands to have you resist me. Now what happens when you do that, you get tense and you tighten up, right? When I'm pushing on you. Or you can actually go down into a plank position here. That's what you want to feel at the top of that swing. You want to be so tight at the top here, okay? So once again, let's do the static stop swing here. Hips back, come down to find the bell, toes engaged into the ground, shoulders relaxed, packed. Now we're going to hike the bell back, and then down. Hike back, down, and down. I want you to do that about 5 or 6 times, fast and loose. Keep doing it. Keep practicing that movement, and then when you're ready, then we'll do the full-on movement of the swing. So the next part of this is we're actually going to not put the bell down this time. We're going to do a continuous movement. Now on this, I want you to think about how a pendulum goes back and forth like this, right? So this, I want you to actually, this is what a kettlebell swing does, is you'll load up, shoot forward. Load up, shoot forward, okay? Going back to that bow and arrow concept, okay? So, once again, we'll set ourselves up. Toes, hips, shoulders, lats, eyes are on the horizon the entire time. Tip the bell back, ready to hike.